Do you know how many Planet of the Apes movies there are? I know there's the original one. Maybe there's a sequel. There's a Mark Wahlberg one. 10. There are 10 of them. Welcome back to their 10 goddamn Planet of the Apes films. You might have seen the new ones with Caesar and all that goofy stuff he gets up to. Planet of the Apes is a silly romp filled with funny monkeys. It's fun for the whole family. Planet of the Apes is a depressing slog filled with murderous monkeys. It's misery for the whole no one. But in all seriousness, I really like this series. It's a series that has a lot of good stuff in it, and also some stuff that's really, 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 really bad. And I don't mean Michael Jackson bad. Or do I? More on that later. I'd like to believe that all of these movies exist in one singular canon. It's impossible, let it go. In fact, this series is so all over the place with its continuity that words like remake and prequel weren't enough. I had to coin 3 new phrases just to cover it all. More on that later. Are we actually gonna follow up on any? And timelines! Across this series, there's anywhere from 5 to 173 timelines. Wowie! It's 5 though. Now I watched all of these because I'm making a video about it, but I already did this. I did this once before to myself. And now I've done it again. I've watched every Planet of the Apes film, under no duress, of my own accord, to myself. What's wrong with me? Why don't I take more of these? So I'll be recapping all these movies for you. So if you're like one of those all people who haven't watched every single Planet of the Apes movie, this is for you. Maybe we'll find a thesis together along the way. Or maybe I'll just bullshit one at the end. I bullshitted at the end. So spoilers for Planet of the Apes 1 through 9, some of which are older than your dad's brother, who is the older of the 2 brothers. And don't worry, I've only seen the trailer for Kingdom, so there won't be any spoilers for that movie whatsoever. Please, for the love of God, subscribe. If you don't, we'll have to put Grandpa down and, well, we're pretty fond of the little guy. Planet of the Apes, the first of the original 5 film series, or pentalogy, I guess. At the top of the first film, we see a group of astronauts crash land on a mysterious alien planet. The crew accidentally stayed in cryostasis for 2,000 years, so it's now the year 3978. And unfortunately, this bitch really slept in. Our hero is astronaut George Taylor. Character traits? He's horny and he's not heroic. See, the thing about Taylor is, he's kind of a real piece of shit. So Landon, one of the other astronauts, after learning that everyone he's ever known is dead and he's alone in the universe, reacts, normally. And Taylor supports him by saying,
"Your loved ones are dead and forgotten for 20 centuries. 20 centuries!"
Gosh, he's a real leader you can get behind. Okay, some of the greatest characters in film history have started out duds and grown into something greater. And Taylor is an exception.
Come on.
So Taylor and the boys meet up with these chatty motherfuckers.
They look more or less human, but I think they're mute.
And find themselves hunted. Hunted by apes! Yeah, probably tie them up. They gotta be useful for something. Okay, just shoot them. Why are you shooting them? Oh, hurry, you tie up. After being shot in the neck, Taylor finds himself unable to speak, just like the primitive humans. So we're introduced to Zira and Cornelius, played by series regulars Kim Hunter and Roddy McDowall, who are supporting characters here, but that'll change going forward in the series. Zira realizes that Taylor's different and decides to try and help.
That Bright Eyes is remarkable. He keeps trying to form words.
Now, the apes are technically the dominant species here, but they're also kinda really stupid.
My name is Taylor.
Bailiff, silence the animal.
Taylor is clearly intelligent, but they make all kinds of excuses to explain it away.
Objection! Sustained!
The apes are shown that their cushy lives could be threatened, and these fools are just burying their heads in the sand at that shit. Zira and Cornelius are clearly the only ones big braining it around here. So they free Taylor, and the gang heads to a place called the Forbidden Zone. They find the remnants of an old human civilization that Zayas still insists was apes.
Dr. Zayas, would an ape make a human doll? The
And your spidey sense might be tingling at this point. After a little boomy shooty tie-uppy, Taylor takes Taylor takes Nova down the shoreline in search of answers. But oh yeah, he also kisses the ape lady.
All right, but you're so damned ugly.
And Zeus clearly knows the truth.
You're right. I have always known about man.
But, you know. Now remember, this planet may look like Earth and have Earth-like qualities and atmosphere and humans and apes and horses and human dolls, but it is Earth.
My God, we finally really did it. You maniacs! You blew it up! God damn you all to hell!
Even if you've never seen an ape movie before, you've probably seen the ending to this one or some parody of it.
Oh! No! They did it! They blew it up! And then the apes blew up their society, and then the birds took over, and then cows. No!
Oh, shit. There goes the planet.
It's a great twist, but I'm curious to know how many people were surprised by it back in the day. If you saw this movie without knowing the twist, let me know what your experience is, because I genuinely want to know. I've never seen this movie without knowing the twist, so I can't attest, but it seems really obvious once you know.
He wore false teeth and eyeglasses. Prefabricated valve.
So basically, this is clearly a Cold War message. It's 1968. The fear of nuclear war is everywhere, but it's a movie about monkeys? What does that have to do with anything? If I'm making a movie that has a huge twist at the end like this, I'm gonna want it to tie into the rest of the movie and not just be like a big what the fuck moment for no reason. Well, it does tie into the rest of the movie. If you watch it with the ending in mind, nearly everything in this movie relates back to the nuclear war theme.
The Forbidden Zone was once a paradise. Your breed made a desert of it ages ago.
But it does so covertly, so as not to give away the twist. What was most certainly a major writing challenge here was explaining the ending before the ending happens. You want to be able to cut to credits immediately after Taylor sees the statue, but you also want the audience to understand what the implications of that moment are. All right, side tangent. This is something I've noticed about good twists. A good twist has to be simple. You should be able to describe it in one sentence. The twist is an answer to a question you may or may not have been asking. And that answer can't be complicated because its purpose is to clarify what was already complicated. This movie is like a puzzle with many questions throughout it. But the answer to all of those questions is like a key that unlocks them. And that answer is, this planet is Earth. The filmmakers were able to end the movie on this note without having to explain a bunch of things because you now have the key to solve the rest of the puzzle yourself. But they still needed to front load the movie with all of the explanations just while withholding that one key detail.
The doll was found beside the jawbone of a man, and no trace of simian fossil has been found in this deposit.
And I think that's pretty impressive. The main problem with this is that Taylor never figures it out, which means that he is the dumbest person on the planet, and that's including them, and him, and also him. He doesn't know where he is, but he can breathe the air, and when he sees these, he's going, nice. We got those back on Earth too. What a coink. We had them too. Had them. But just wait till we get to the Mark Wahlberg remake, because that one manages to out-stupid this.
Oh my God.
To be honest, I don't feel bad for Taylor in the end. As far as I can tell, he didn't do an ounce of growing throughout the film. He started out as kind of an asshole.
Shut up.
And ended not having stopped being that. The hell, maybe that was intentional. You know, if you don't care about this dude, then when he goes all,
Damn you all to hell!
I guess that softens the blow a bit. Thanks, movie. We'll probably all be nuked soon in real life, but gosh, I would have felt bad if I liked him. So when I saw this movie for the first time, I was curious at this point to see where the story was going to go in the next film. And the answer? Nowhere really. Which brings us to the Mark Wahlberg version. No, I'm just kidding. That's ages away. Beneath the Planet of the Apes. An astronaut crash lands on a mysterious alien planet 2,000 years after he left Earth. He runs into these chatty motherfuckers and finds himself hunted. Hunted by apes! He finds out that the planet is run by the apes, and oh gosh, look at that, it's actually Earth.
My God, did we finally do it? Did we finally really do it?
We finally really did it.
So for the first half of the movie, we're run through basically the same motions as we were in the first one.
My God, it's a city of apes.
Except with an objectively more likable protagonist. He's younger, he's better looking, he's more interesting, he's nicer, he's better looking. So Brent's goal is to locate Taylor, who's mysteriously absent from the call or the story. Brent meets up with Nova, but she can't tell him where Taylor is because she's just so fucking stupid.
Taylor. Nova.
She manages to lead him to our friendly apes, Zira and Cornelius, played by series regulars Kim Hunter and Roddy McDowell. Is that?
We'd be worse than them.
Well, whatever. This gentleman does a fine job, and it's Roddy McDowell in every other film after this. I gotta talk about something. Something I've noticed about long-running movie series like this, every consecutive movie spawns in some new fuckwit antagonist. No matter how resolved the story was at the end of the last movie, everything kind of resets at the beginning of the next one. It's like, as soon as we get rid of one of them, it's like a void in the universe that must be filled. Karate Kid's another good example. Every movie introduced a more evil, somehow fewer dimensional villain than the previous movie.
You mean you haven't signed the application?
No, listen, I'm not signing the application, all right?
So anyway, the fuckwit. We have this psychotic warmongering gorilla who just so happened to not be an issue like 5 seconds ago when the last movie took place. Anyway, this scene is the last we see of these apes, and Zaius leaves them with this little nugget.
If I should fail to return from the unknown, the whole future of our civilization may be yours to preserve.
And presumably we'll come back to that later. So in our third act, Brent takes Nova beneath the And there we get to see some more New York landmarks, and then the two are captured by mutants. Oh, god damn it, I forgot about the fucking mutants. They're telekinetic mutants.
Who are you? Brent, your lips don't move.
And they can make you do things with their minds. And we're... Oh, she's kinda cute though. Kinda nice for a mutant. So the mutants torture Brent a little bit, but then say this, so...
We're a peaceful people.
I guess it's fine. And then they bring him to a cell and he meets Taylor.
Taylor!
So the mutants continue to pretend to be benevolent, but then...
We don't kill our enemies. We get our enemies to kill each other.
Nova finally squeaks out a word, which distracts this guy so that those guys can... Yeah, good. Fuckers. And it turns out those peaceful fuckers have a nuclear bomb. But not just any nuke. It's a super nuke.
Greek letters. Alpha and Omega. I don't know what they've got.
A doomsday bomb.
A snook. And so our two heroes team up to stop the nuke. Well, don't show them that yet. Oh, whatever. Fuckwit's army of gorillas kills everyone, and then Taylor hits the button. Because Butterfingers? Or maybe wanted to end it all? I don't know. And then this is how it all ends.
In one of the countless billions of galaxies in the universe lies a medium-sized star, and one of its satellites, a green and insignificant planet, is now dead.
Great. It's like I say, always send them home with a spring in their step. So what the fuck kind of dire shit is 3 gonna be about? That's not so bad. That's downright jovial. Escape from the Planet of the Apes. 3 is a lot of fun, especially in comparison to the last 2. So, wait, hold on. Stop everything! Is that? So get this, Cornelius and Zira travel back in time to 1973. Now from this point on, the movies in this series aren't just sequels, and they're not exactly prequels. They're sprequels. Because we've traveled back in time and begun telling the origin story of the Planet of the Apes, these next 3 movies are also prequels to the first 2 films. Cornelius and Zira don't know if they can trust the humans, so they decide to remain silent in order to blend in with the regular apes.
Do we want some sugar, old-timer?
And Cornelius sticks to that plan for more than 4 seconds.
Well, why doesn't she take it? Because I loathe bananas.
Zira!
I don't believe it.
And I have to say, I really like the characters of Louis and Stevie. They're probably my favorite characters in the original series.
May I say something personal?
Please?
I like you.
I have from the beginning.
And no, it's not because I'm sexually attracted to Stevie. And no, it's not just because I'm sexually attracted to Stevie.
You were fabulous.
What a
Just
marvelous. They
wonderful.
loved you. All that applause, but there was a moment.
There was. When he started to ask us...
Zira.
Cornelius, I think we should tell them.
No.
But only to Louis and Stevie from the windows of the spaceship.
We saw the Earth destroyed.
Wait, rewind. Remember when Zaius put these 2 in charge of Donkey Kong Country?
Yours to preserve.
And then the world exploded like later that day?
Dead.
Their very first actions as leaders was to just hit the fucking deck, then haul ass to Taylor's ship and de-lake it using ape magic? And then go to space? Unless you don't mean that ship. I think we shan't unpack that any further. If we did, we'd probably just discover that the answer is that they didn't plan on making any more movies after. But when asked about the apes' history, meaning our future but their past, Cornelius tells the humans a story about how dogs and cats went extinct.
So, humans took primitive apes as pets. In the course of less than 2 centuries, they progressed from performing mere tricks to performing services.
He then tells them about an ape named
Aldo. He did not grunt. He articulated. He spoke a word which had been spoken to him all time without number by humans. He said, no.
So Cornelius and Zira are welcomed into society.
Address, please. The zoo.
And we get our designated fuckwit.
One day, talking apes will dominate this Earth and eventually destroy it by 3950-something.
Now, what do you expect me to do about it? Alter what you believe to be the course of the future by slaughtering 2 innocents?
Now, ordinarily, this is where the president would be easily persuaded by these overreactionary views just for the sake of conflict in the story. But I was pleasantly surprised that the president actually holds his ground and on numerous attempts by the aforementioned fuckwit to convince him to do evil things. So it's going great. The world loves these furry little freaks. They've got a little baby on the way. They've got their Lewis and Stevie. I like how the filmmakers decided to take the series in an optimistic direction.
Oh my God.
Well, don't say I didn't warn you. I didn't. It would have been better if I had warned them. But let's rewind. Before that waking nightmare takes form, we're introduced to Ricardo Montalban's Armando, who's just a fine chap.
Congratulations. No?
No.
Armando lets Zira visit the quotes real ape and her baby. And you can probably guess where this is headed. So Fuckwit ends up hunting the apes for reasons. The apes attempt to escape with their baby, but are ambushed by F-dubs. And everyone does this.
What's she doing?
Why did Zira yeet her baby off the side of the boat, you ask?
Because that baby ain't that baby. That baby is that baby.
Intelligent creature. But then so were your mother and father.
Mama. 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 Mama.
Which leads us into part 4. Mark Wahlberg! Shit, wait, hold on, there's still more of these. Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. Armando raises Caesar in the circus. They live a happy and safe life, and Caesar's identity is secure. Armando brings Caesar to the city so that he can lose him and die. Armando brings Caesar to the city to show him what human life is like.
A circus ape, huh?
Did I do all right?
Yes. Now listen to me, Caesar. The mere fact of your existence will be regarded as a great threat to mankind.
And so Caesar witnesses how apes are treated in human civilization.
They've made slaves of them.
They all died within a few months, 8 years ago. Every dog and cat in the world.
Man was without pets. Of course, for man, this was intolerable. They progressed from performing mere tricks to performing services.
And thus, so far, history is playing out about how Cornelius described. We're then introduced to MacDonald, who shows compassion for the apes.
Once, all of you!
Who the hell's that? Take it easy. That's MacDonald, the governor's #1 assistant.
Unfortunately, Caesar loses his temper.
Lousy human bastards!
And runs, raising suspicion for himself and Armando.
Let's go back to the circus.
No.
Oh, no, please.
No, that's the first place they look.
They're both captured, but the humans don't know that Caesar is actually the one who spoke, and that he's a big dumb stupid ape in appearance only, and has human intelligence. Caesar is made a servant like all the other apes, and he's assigned to this week's fuckwit, Breck.
I'm beginning to wonder if they shot the right baby.
Caesar acting like a regular ape is probably one of the most interesting parts of this movie.
Do.
No.
And I really like the dynamic between these guys.
We haven't named him yet, have we?
No, Mr. Brick.
Well, I'm going to have to let you name yourself. Caesar. A king.
Meanwhile, it's clear from early on that MacDonald is going to end up being a good guy, and it almost seems like he maybe suspects that Caesar is the smart ape, but doesn't say anything. The humans interrogate Armando, and rather than giving up Caesar, he jumps to his death.
I knew that circus owner was lying.
But they insist he fell to his death accidentally.
While trying to escape, he knew he'd been exposed.
Roddy McDowall is giving one of many stellar ape performances that we see throughout the series, and under like a fucking foot of prosthetics. I mean, I really gotta hand it to him and all the ape making people. I gotta mention this though. Caesar goes from losing Armando to organizing an ape uprising in literally the next scene.
In custody, a number of servant apes from widely scattered households throughout the city who had gathered clandestinely in the unused building on the outskirts of the East Sector. Property owners...
And they said, wait a second. Something's happening to me. Could it be?
are firmly sole responsibility for the behavior and whereabouts of their servant apes.
I mean, these are like dumb zoo apes, right? Like normal, they're like poopy throwing apes. Is that offensive? I'm really sorry if it is. Anyway, we don't even get to see him learning to communicate with these shit tossers, and then all of a sudden he's commanding them. This is something Rise improves upon. They cleverly have Caesar undumb the other apes with smart gas. But here, these are just 1990s apes. I don't know about any of that shit. They don't even seem to understand why they're going along with this revolution, but gosh, do they love it. So Caesar begins inciting the apes to cause individual acts of disobedience.
No!
Certainly he's not going to be right there. I'm a little confused though, because the whole movie takes place in like this one plaza, but the implication is that this ape uprising is going to affect the whole world.
What you have seen here today, apes on the 5 continents will be imitating tomorrow.
Oh, well, there you go. So Caesar finally decides that he can trust McDonald.
I wish there was some way we could communicate so you'd understand that
I understand, Mr. McDonald.
Some other things happen, and then Caesar and his apes take control of the city.
Aim!
Did you want to maybe put any sound effects for... Okay.
Take him.
So Caesar gives his final speech.
From this day forward, my people will plot for the inevitable day of man's downfall. And that day is upon you now!
And well, Lisa and McDonald are less than thrilled about the whole thing.
No.
By what right are you spilling blood?
The humans have pushed Caesar to creating the very world his parents fought against in Planet of the Apes 1 and escaped from in 3. Tragic symmetry? I don't know. Maybe.
No.
But now we will put away our hatred.
Oh. Wait, hold up. Back it up.
But now we will put down our weapons. We have passed through the night of the fires.
My spidey sense is tingling. I'm feeling like originally Caesar just let them kill Breck, and then they went in and did this chop job to give it a lighter ending. Let's look into this further. That's exactly what happened. Apparently they recut the ending after test audiences did not care for the original. This is the original. So this original ending, just like the first two, had a very depressing, nihilistic tone. If this was a standalone movie, I think that it works, but for the purposes of teeing up the fifth film, I think they absolutely made the right call in changing the ending, even if it was kinda awk.
It is God's will that he be dominated with compassion.
It leaves room for him to grow in the next film.
And that next film is?
That's right, it's Mark Wahlberg! No, still no.
Battle for the Planet of the Apes.
So 5 is by far the worst of the series, hands down. I don't even need to rewatch to tell you. I watched this a number of years back and I remember.
Yeah, so they're full on in the post-apocalypse now, and the apes live alongside humans, but the apes are kind of in control of the humans, whatever.
When we grow to know and trust your people, then we shall all be equals and remain so until the end of the world.
Which may be sooner than you think.
I cannot believe you.
Would you believe it if you heard it from the lips of your own parents? Under the Dead City, there are tapes of Cornelius and Zira, and I know that they concern Earth's future.
It's a pretty good setup. I mean, I guess it ties into the previous films pretty nicely, but...
They're getting away. Kill them. Kill them. Kill them.
One day, you are going to be as tall as a king.
So 5 rocks my off. I really didn't expect this from my rewatch. This one is at least my second favorite of the original series, if not my favorite. These 5 were increasingly less successful with each passing movie, with lower and lower budgets for the most part. I mean, inflation aside, the budget for the first movie was $5.8 million, and the budget for this movie was $1.8 million. So it's old and with a relatively small budget, even for the time. You can't expect modern sizzle with these movies like you can with the new ones. These are more slow and thought-provoking, but I like that. And at least this one has sound effects. So Caesar has created a civilization with himself as king. Apes and humans live semi-harmoniously together, and what? Oh, anyway. So the humans are kinda equal to the apes, but...
No, Aldo, no!
In all our years of slavery to mankind, the word no was the one word we were electrically conditioned to fear.
So the apes are allowed to just run them down and nobody does anything unless Caesar happens to see. That'll be important. Like, I know you don't trust me. Why would you? Caesar has a son named Cornelius. So even though this movie takes place thousands of years before Planet of the Apes 1, perhaps this Cornelius could go on to be...
There goes that dream.
So Aldo is a war-hungry general and just one of this film's DFs. Side tangent here. Again, the main problem of these sequels is that the apes become intelligent and learn to speak all just within Caesar's lifetime, and all without any genetic or evolutionary encouragement. Yeah, that's right, I can use big words. Sometimes me good at word do. The original implied that it was evolution over the course of 2,000 years, which probably wouldn't even be enough, right? The later reboots explain it as a virus that enables Caesar's intelligence, and the other apes are limited to basic sign language until they contract smart. And while I don't think it detracts from their quality, the original prequels offer no real explanation for this leap. Anyway, Caesar, McDonald, and our new boy Virgil head to the Forbidden City to find tapes of Zira and Cornelius talking about the future.
On a historic day, there came an ape who spoke a word which had been spoken to him time without number by humans. He said, no.
This is a really interesting inciting incident because it not only provides a logical reason for Caesar to endanger himself, but it also acknowledges the previous films instead of just ignoring them and moving on. And I really like that. Anyway, might want to hold on to your nuts for the next part. So in this film, it's implied that Caesar is the revolutionary that Cornelius is talking about. But if we look at the original scene, Cornelius actually says that Aldo started the revolution. This fuckwit. But Caesar done did that. Presumably they're just omitting Aldo's name here because they don't want us to get confused. But obviously they included the character of Aldo in this movie on purpose. We'll come back to that. So Caesar and the gang get what they're after, but they find themselves hunted. Hunted by mutants!
That's Caesar. Come back to reconquer his kingdom.
Doesn't he know that the bomb did that?
But seriously, there's mutants again. Are these freaks confirmed as same freaks as these freaks? So the mutants start attacking because...
If we shoot, we break 12 years of peace.
Yes, it has been rather boring, hasn't it?
Now that's a fuckwit with some depth. I'm on board. Our heroes get the hell out of there, but the mutants manage to find the ape village. Well, back at home, Cornelius climbs up high and sees something he shouldn't have. Wait, no, not that.
We will smash Caesar!
Look! Cornelius overhears Aldo plotting against Caesar. Aldo catches him and cuts the branch, so Cornelius falls and is badly wounded. But thanks to MacDonald, who investigates and discovers that the branch was actually cut, Caesar gonna be giving Aldo a big fat nah.
Aldo has seized power. He's broken into the armory and imprisoned all humans in the corral. I can't leave Cornelius. He needs me. Every ape and human in Ape City needs you. Now.
I think you should go to Cornelius.
And sadly, Cornelius dies. Soon after, the mutants attack and the apes go to war. And... oh man, that's a lot of dead apes.
Now, fight like apes!
Oh shit! Those apes are alive!
Living apes.
Ultimately, the mutants escape. Caesar has mercy on them and lets them go.
No, Virgil.
Which is disappointing because they'll probably just be back some other time.
No prisoners!
Oh fuck! Oh shit! Oh god! Oh shit! Oh fuck! Fucking shit! Woo! Aldo coming in clutch. He does still need to die though.
Murdered my son. You murdered my son!
So Caesar has the humans freed, but...
if you mean to set us free, then free us completely.
As equals, respecting each other, living together with love.
Love. The human way is violence and death.
Aldo wasn't human. Was he, Caesar?
Okay, so now that we've reached the end of the prequels, let's talk about it. Is this a time loop, or are there multiple timelines? At first, I was pretty convinced it was a time loop, but now I'm team timeline all the way. Firstly, Cornelius Sr.'s time frames don't add up. He said that it took 200 years for apes to become trained enough to do tasks, but they're already doing tasks within 20 years in the version that we see. My theory is that Aldo was the revolutionary in the old timeline, and it was his arrogance and rage that led to humans being treated like animals. It's unclear whether the humans in Planet of the Apes 1 de-evolved due to circumstance, or if perhaps the apes were experimenting on them from much earlier on. But in this new timeline, because of Caesar's presence, Aldo instead becomes the villain. Caesar takes his place and together with McDonald creates a better future. I really dig this idea because it gives purpose to the entire series. What starts out as a nihilistic nightmare and continues to be so for quite a while, actually builds towards an optimistic resolution, which in a series of movies written and directed by all different people is pretty incredible. In Planet of the Apes 1, we established that mankind fucked up and good, leading to this bitter world of inequality between humans and apes. 2 basically says if you try and fight against it, there's no hope and the world ends. 3 sets in motion a changing of history by the only 2 apes who ever gave a damn about justice. Their legacy is continued by Caesar in 4, but due to the humans' cruelty, Caesar is pushed to being just as tyrannical as Aldo theoretically was in the previous timeline. The ending of 4 is like the lowest point in the series, which is appropriate because the lowest point comes right before the final act, which would be the 5th movie. And in that 5th movie, Caesar has a genuine, rad, sick-ass, tight resolution to his arc, and the arc of the entire series when he learns that apes and humans are no different.
Aldo wasn't human. Was he, Caesar?
Virgil, you are a good and wise ape. We'll rebuild what's ruined and begin again. Tell me something, McDonald. Can we make the future what we wish?
I've heard that it's possible, Caesar.
And the 2 species work together to create a better future than the one we saw in the first movie. Would you look at that? This nightmare really can end. Going back to the re-editing of 4's ending, I'm really glad they did it. If it weren't for just those simple little changes, we probably never would have gotten the 5th movie, and this entire series would have ended on a sour note with no real resolution. History repeats itself and we're just doomed to make the same mistakes again and again. And that's clearly the tone they had in mind when they made the first one, but things change, and if we invest 5 movies of our time into something, I for one kind of want something a little optimistic at the end, you know? Well, you guessed it, it's finally time for Planet of the Apes, the television series. Well, I didn't have to watch this show, but I didn't. Mark Wahlberg of the Planet of the Apes. Now we've finally arrived at what you've all been waiting for. Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Nah, I'm just yanking your dicks. It's Mark Wahlberg! So, the 2001 remake. I remember thinking this movie was badass. And, in hindsight, I think it really holds down. So we're first introduced to Pericles, and oh god, he's gonna die. The first actual ape in this series, and he's adorable, and he's gonna die. They're gonna kill him, and he's gonna die. Loose. Okay, he was just doing a let's play of Microsoft Flight Simulator. So Captain Mark Wahlberg is a pilot, and all he wants to do is fly. But his superiors are like, no, please don't do that. We would hate if you did that. Maybe another time, like never. So they send Pericles out to investigate an electrical storm. And he's dead. I was afraid he was gonna die, and then they killed him for real. He's not coming back. God damn it. Now, despite the fact that Pericles is canonically dead, Mark decides to disobey orders and fly out to try and find him. And he's maybe he's not. No, that bitch is dead as dirt. And he goes through a time hole. Mark crash lands on an alien planet, which is an alien planet. Mark meets up with these chatty motherfuckers and finds himself hunted. Hunted by apes! Oh wait, no, they talk.
You on the street at night, they kill you on sight.
Okay, they talk.
Can you lead me back to the place where they caught us?
Not without my family.
They talk kind of a lot.
You're hurt.
Chatty as fuck, actually. Shut up! Now, a little while into this film, I started to not feel so good. Upon further investigation, I determined that a little-known toxic chemical was permeating from the film itself. That chemical, of course, is cringe.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, so's the sun till you get too close to it.
Now, I needed to devise a machine that could calculate the level of oncoming cringe so I could protect myself going forward. Now, this is the cringeometer, or cringeometer if you prefer. Now, as you can see, we have the safe range, cautionary range, and of course, the fatal range. I'll share my readings with you as we go along. Stay safe out there. So Mark and this thing develop a bond, I guess. The fact is, in this version, it's not just our hero who's stupid. The world is also stupid. They have horses and breathable air. Where'd them come from?
Horses.
But in this version, the apes are really stupid. The humans can talk now and show no particular signs of lacking intelligence. After we meet the humans, there's like 15 minutes where we don't hear them talk. So it kind of seemed like they were building towards like a reveal that they could talk. So I was kind of expecting something like this.
No!
What the fuck? But it's this.
Don't be afraid.
Oh, okay, they can talk in this one. I wasn't sure if they could or could not, but I now see that it is one rather than the other. The fact that the humans are intelligent in this one just makes the apes look even dumber than they were in the original. Like, a lot dumber.
Next, you'll be telling us these beasts have a soul.
Is there a soul in there?
In that one, the humans couldn't talk or write or anything. They actually were more like animals. So the apes and the humans' roles were reversed. But in this one, the apes looked down on them for no particular reason.
Monkeys are further down the evolutionary ladder, just above humans.
What scientific evidence do they have for this? Is that literal? And wait, they got monkeys on this planet too? Where'd them come from? Much like Zira in the original film, Ari sees that Mark is different. But wait, he's not though. He's the same. They can all talk and think. The apes still don't get it, namely this early 2000s fuckwit, General Thade, who's got a real hard-off for humans. Anyway, Ari decides to help rescue Mark, along with Blondie and her family members, dead and useless. And on the way, they see fit to B&E several homes along their way. Including the house of a senator who was just at their house for dinner and can identify them. Come on, Dad, didn't you ever teach your daughter anything? Speaking of which, one of the heinous scenarios they interrupt is this. As a kid, I mean, I was digging this movie, but at this point, my little internal cringeometer was going off, if you know what I'm saying. A fun thing is, every time Ari flirts with Mark, which is a lot, we cut to Blondie all like, it's really fucking funny. And I guess she has a name, and I guess it's Dana, but I will rub shit in my eyes if you can prove to me that they say that name once in the movie. So the gang escapes from the city, with this dipshit along as their prisoner. Whoops, wait, no, wrong dipshit. With this dipshit along as their prisoner. Oh god, something's happening.
What's wrong? Apes are afraid of the water. They can't swim.
We drown.
It's the cringeometer. It's off the charts. It's happening.
That's why every day we pray for rain.
Phew. Thank God I was wearing this. Never expose yourself to toxic levels of cringe without proper protection. And I'm not going to justify that line with a response. No, I'm not. I'm just not. But honestly, rain is going to make them drown? If I couldn't swim, would I be afraid of going outside when it rained for fear of it filling up the world and drowning me? What the fuck are we talking? The gang realizes that in the same location that Mark's ship has apparently landed, there's a sacred place called Kalima.
What's so important on the other side of that hill? Kalima.
Where the Almighty breathed life into Simos, the first ape.
They're not allowed to go, so they go. The gang reaches Kalima, and I don't know if I want to say you should have guessed it, because I didn't, but I was a primordial little dumbass when I saw this movie for the first time. So you should have guessed it. Kalima is actually Mark's ship, the Oberon. It crashed there 2,000 years prior.
They're all dead because they were out looking for me.
And Kalima comes from a sign that reads, "Caution live animals." Yes, it does. Anyway, so it turns out that Simos was one of the chimps aboard the Oberon and also a secret asshole who rose up against the humans. The gang battles Thade's oncoming army by tricking them into not knowing what an engine is. God damn, that's a lot of air apes.
Wait.
Oh fuck! Those apes are alive!
Living apes.
So really? There was no point to... Well, alright. How are we gonna get out of this then? Pericles! Nah, he lives.
You okay? Came home.
Thade's men learn that humans aren't dumb and turn on him.
Everything I have believed is a lie.
Everything's good.
I have to leave now.
You know, one day they'll tell a story.
Now, Mark, she may be a filthy animal, but she is female, so you should probably make out with her. And she's a female as well, and despite the fact that she just saw you make out with her, and she will be able to see if you make out with her, you should probably make out with her. Director Mark Wahlberg, everyone. So Mark commits Grand Theft Auto 5 on poor Pericles, and he's off. Time ticks back down, and he... Why can this bitch not land one ship? Mark. Monkey. Mark. Monkey. And now, we get atop the original twist. Over here we've got American landmark, nihilistic implications about the world and who we are as human beings. Thade is Abe Lincoln. Cut to credits. Now, apparently they planned on going into this further in the sequel. This? Oh, you didn't do that one. This?
I beg your pardon, Dr. Zaius.
You're going too far, Professor Zira.
So what sequel you... Oh, you didn't do one. How come? Oh. So instead, we're left with this bad taste in our mouths for literally ever. So I guess the implication is that Thade de-swamped Mark's original pod and fixed it because he's techie? Or no, I guess he just used ape magic again. Then flew it back in time, happened to land earlier than Mark, and somehow took over the planet.
Did you have a conclusion for any of that?
No. Ultimately, it's a fun movie with some silly nonsense in it. On a technical level, I think it really deserves recognition though. The prosthetics are incredible, and the sets are awesome, and they really pulled out the stops for the wire work as well. I also like Danny Elfman's main score here. Well, that's that, and we're on to fake apes, which are more fake than these apes, but less fake than these apes. What do you mean it didn't make any sense? Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Homestretch. Now, what'll start to become clear is that these next 3 movies are essentially remakes, not of the original movie, but no, just of the sequels, 4 and 5 specifically. So what is a remake of a sequel? It's a remakeable. Duh. So much like Armando in 4, in this version, Daddy Franco raises Caesar without anyone knowing that his brain has folds. This all starts when Will develops a virus that's meant to cure Alzheimer's, but ultimately kills you, LOL. More on that later. But it also accidentally levels up the ape's intelligence and doesn't kill them also. As Will develops the virus, he manages to cure his father with it. Meanwhile, he raises Caesar as a side proj. I really enjoy the progression of Caesar's character in this one because when the movie starts out, he's really just an ape who's unusually clever. But as we get to the end of the movie, Caesar completely takes over as the main character. Caesar reacts emotionally in public, which draws unwanted attention to himself.
What are you doing? You stay right there. You are going nowhere, mister. You understand it. I sure as hell not going to. This is your problem. You made the mess.
This is just one of many great scenes in this movie. Will has to put Caesar in a shelter, and then the real plot begins. And much like it did in Conquest,
Bastards!
This results in Caesar and his father figure having to be separated.
Caesar! Not right now. We're not going home right now.
Let's go back to the circus.
No.
Oh, no, please.
No, that's the first place they look.
Caesar witnesses the cruelty of humans firsthand. And then begins plotting his ape uprising. Caesar meets his soon-to-be longtime friend Maurice, the photorealistic orangutan. Seriously, what the fuck? This was 12 years ago. Meanwhile, Will rushes the production of the cure in order to save his father.
I've already developed a virus strain that I think will be more aggressive.
So our hero Will, despite his many qualities, does kinda murder every living person on the planet. So Granddaddy's symptoms return.
Caesar, eat your food.
And he eventually dies. Which clues Will in that this thing they've been calling a virus might be a virus.
It's a virus. We don't know the human-related effects.
Will warns his boss Jacobs, who gives the minusculest of fucks, to the point that one could almost argue its non-existence. And he continues production anyway. We're also introduced to Koba, who will be important going forward. Caesar straight up steals the smart juice and shares it with his friends. And then the big moment.
Take your stinking paw off me, you damn dirty ape!
No!
Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
Take your stinking hands off me, you damn dirty human!
And then the handler gets Avada Kedavra, with the gang engaging in a little light revolution after. So like I said before, this movie does way better with the ape intelligence thing, with Caesar undumbing the other apes. But the one issue that remains here is that Maurice was always able to communicate like a human, even from the first day that they met, and he was normal AF. And this is even before he gets brain bettered. And yet, I know that apes can learn sign language, but this is not really this.
Nim's longest recorded sentence was, "Give orange me, give eat, orange me, eat, orange give me eat."
The apes ultimately escape to live a life of freedom in Muir Woods. Lovely place, actually. I visited when I went to San Francisco, and I didn't even get mauled by apes twice. This movie's really tough for me. It's fighting for my number one of all the 9 movies. I think this movie really benefits from like a wide variety of thingies. Here are some of them. You got daddy drama, you got science gone wrong, you got coming of age stuff, and you got a nice emotional resolution at the end.
Please come home.
Caesar is home.
And one last thing. This is clearly referencing the astronauts in Planet of the Apes 1, and seems to be just a throwaway. But I would love it if they bring the astronauts back in Kingdom, because then it could be a completely fresh exploration of that original concept, but this time from the apes' perspective. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Much like in number 5, Battle of the Apes, Caesar rules over a community of apes in a world where humans are all but extinct. Look at that.
The best.
So Malcolm and his crew come head to head with Caesar's tribe because this guy shoots an ape who happens to be friends with Caesar's son, Blue Eyes. 75 guesses as to what this guy's name is, and the first 75 don't count. His name's Fuckwit. So after Fuckwit shoots Ash, Koba here tries to convince Caesar that they need to fight back. This sets into motion what could be a badass war, but instead is a badass peace.
Apes! Do not want war, but will fight if we must.
So that could have been that, except the humans need access to this power plant dam thingy whatever that's near where the apes live, but
do not come back.
So despite Caesar's demands, Malcolm risks it all and travels to Caesarton in this harrowing ass scene. I love that he's like 200% sure he's gonna die right now, but he just braves it. They really nail the human characters in these movies every time, which is impressive because human characters never carry over to the next movie. So they have to develop them from scratch every time.
I didn't know you had a daughter.
So the apes and humans clash, obviously. Koba is this film's Fuckwit Ape Edition. And he just can't let it go. But Malcolm, Ellie, and Alexander continue to grow closer to Caesar and the other apes.
Lights.
Koba shoots Caesar, but nobody witnesses it, thus framing the humans for it. Which leads to one of the most badass moments in film history. Keep in mind, Maurice has never spoken in the series until... Koba then stages a coup and imprisons anyone who was loyal to Caesar. Meanwhile, the apes take over the human city under Koba's command. Blue Eyes and Ash go to Koba and are sort of like, maybe not? And Koba straight up murders Ash. Oh, you're a real piece of shit. But don't worry, because that bitch is gonna get as good as he gives. Now, while Caesar recovers with the humans at the old Franco house, Blue Eyes breaks the other good apes out of bus jail, and it's time to kick some ass.
Kill. Ape. You are not ape.
Aldo wasn't human. Was he, Caesar?
But the apes have to move on because dumbasses over here told on them.
We make contact. They're already on their way.
If you don't go, it'll be all-out war.
War has already begun.
War for the Planet of the Apes. So Caesar's crew has been on the run ever since.
People are coming, soldiers.
And boy do they. In the intro sequence, human soldiers fight against Caesar and the apes. These soldiers work for the Colonel, the you-know-what of the film. The group calls themselves Alpha Omega.
Alpha and Omega.
They even have apes on their side, which they call donkeys. This dude Preacher seems kind of sympathetic. I wonder if he'll become a good guy. Caesar wins and lets these dorks go, but the donkey named Red escapes. Our heroes question whether someone may have helped him. It wasn't the albino one. He did do it though. Back at their temporary home, you know what? Not much point talking about it, because... Remember how Caesar had a wife? Dead. Remember how Caesar had a son? Dead. But he does have a brand new little Cornelius, who does not die, unlike Pericles.
He doesn't die.
He
He doesn't die.
The fuck are you talking about? So Caesar takes his best mates to go break those motherfuckers in half, and he sends the rest of the apes to go find something called the Oasis. Spoiler alert, not gonna happen. And on this note, we start to see how war continues to retell certain events from battle. So the way I see it, Rise covers the events of Conquest, and Dawn and War together cover the events of battle. So along the way, the gang meet up with a girl named Nova, and it's best not to think about it. They decide to take her along because she's an orphan. Oh, that's not right. Oh, her name's not Nova yet. They name her Nova because she's an orphan with no name. That's not right either. They name her Nova because she's an orphan because they orphaned her. She doesn't mind though. Nova can't talk, which we'll later find out is the result of a new strain of the virus. So the gang finds Winter, who sold them out to the Colonel and let Red go after the intro battle.
My son. My wife are dead.
It's just insane to me that the emotion that's possible with these characters, it rivals, if not surpasses, what was possible with live action apes. And these are cartoons. Winter tells them where the Colonel's base is and they make their way there. A small little human steals one of their horses and they chase him down. Turns out to be an adorable miniature version of Steve Zahn.
Bad ape.
Well, they get into a scrape. Luca dies, and Caesar's captured by the Colonel's men. Caesar's held captive, and we discover that the rest of the tribe was also captured. The apes are forced to help build a wall, because another militia group is coming, and they don't much like the Colonel. Wonder why that is. The Colonel invites Caesar in for tea and reveals that he killed his own men, and even his own son, when he learned that they had developed the silent treatment.
The virus suddenly changed. Mutated.
Oh!
Mutated.
You mean... No, okay, not the same. Meanwhile, Preacher continues to be a bad guy.
You kill your own men.
What proceeds to play out is essentially a heist movie in which our characters have to work together to rescue the apes. Some from outside the prison and some from within. All with this ticking clock factor that is the oncoming outside militia. The deal there is that even the other humans know that the Colonel's a fuckwit, but they're not just gonna kill the humans, they're gonna kill the apes as well. So we gotta get the fuck out of Dodge. More on that later. And of course, Preacher continues to be a, you know. So Caesar's arc finally begins to resolve when he realizes that he let his hate endanger his tribe just like the Colonel did. The apes finally escape, but Caesar's got one last bitch to boil. As it turns out, the Colonel's contracted the shut up from Nova's doll. Caesar gets...
The fuck out of here! Fuck, we're all dead!
Grenade launcher!
And would you look see here? A bad guy approaches. What did I tell you? The first time I saw this movie, that happened so quickly that I didn't really appreciate it. But now on rewatching it, I have so much respect for this. That is one of the best subversions of a trope I've ever seen. No, still no. The reason this works, Rye, is because our expectations for Preacher are replaced with something better. The twist is that we've actually been building towards Red's redemption, not Preacher's. And well, the other humans attack, but they get absolutely wrecked by this avalanche that Caesar caused. And the apes survive by doing what they do. And that's about it. Happy ending. What, he dies? That's all right. When I first saw War in the theaters, I remember feeling like the whole thing felt a little samey and like a misery marathon. But watching it again, I realized that there's actually a lot of really fun moments despite the dire situation. And while Rise had a lot of variation in the visuals and locations, this one I feel like makes up for it in interesting character interactions. And in this version, Caesar's young son does die just like in 5, but unlike in 5, Cornelius is the one who survives. This is a really nice touch because just like how 5 ended with the hope of creating a better future, this film ends bittersweet, but with the added hopefulness of Cornelius living and perhaps being able to grow up to be like the original. And so that's about it. What, I have to rank them too? Shitty damn ass, titty ass. Time for me to rank the films, something I've been contractually looking forward to. Number 9, Beneath the Planet of the Apes. While it has its moments, it retreads a lot of the plot of 1 and then that ending. My God. Number 8, Mark of the Apes. Fun and stupid. Number 7, Planet of the Apes 1. A classic with a great twist, but honestly not as interesting as most of the sequels for me personally. Purely subjective. Don't cry. Number 6, Conquest of the Apes. For good chemistry between Caesar, McDonald, and Breck, as well as a fun build-up to the revolution. It loses points for technical issues like the sound and last-minute editing of the ending, despite it being a wise choice in my opinion. Number 5, Battle for the Apes, for the interesting setup and moral dilemmas and some good action sequences. Number 4, Escape from the Apes, for good characters, time travel, and ape-out-of-water fun. Number 3, War for the Apes, for the dynamic cast, great moments, and stunning visuals. Number 2, Rise of the Apes, for the eclectic locales, interesting family dynamics, and intriguing sci-fi premise. And at number 1, Dawn of the Apes, for the likable characters and gripping story. It's extremely hard to pick between the 3 remakeables because I think they're more or less equal but for different reasons. But I'm giving it to Dawn because I think it's the most consistently good out of all 3. I also didn't go into this planning on simping for the remakeables. I am a big fan of the originals, but I think we just lucked out that we got a reboot series of just 3 absolute bangers. Share your rankings with us in the comments and let us know what you think of Kingdom if you see it. Planet of the Apes started out as a Cold War commentary, but it's survived through so many decades that it's seen fit to actually change its message along the way. Mutate, if you will. Mark of the Apes decided to drop the Cold War message altogether and instead just told its own story while retaining select elements from the original. While the remakeables created an entirely new explanation for how the Planet of the Apes started and what the catalyst was. I think it's cool that we got to explore this idea with various different technologies as well. In the original series, the ape prosthetics are impressive for the time, but the apes are clearly human-shaped. In Mark Wahlberg, we get to see the same prosthetics approach, but instead of a $5 million budget, it's a $100 million budget, as well as with 30 years of advancement in the art. And then we have the modern remakeables, which use entirely CG apes. And among other things, one of the benefits is that the apes can, you know, look like the apes that they are. And I can't even, I can't even, there are fucking, is that real? What is happening to me? He's fucking photoreal. Rise even, and it's 12 years old.
You're obsessing, dude.
I know, but it's in there, and it can't get out. So if the original sequels are sprequels, and the reboots are remakeables, what is Kingdom? It's not just a sequel, it's a sequel to a remake of a sequel that's also a prequel. It's a spree-makequel. So what's the thesis of this video? I don't know. But what's the thesis of Planet of the Apes? I mean, it started out as one thing and ended up another. See, I told you I was gonna bullshit it. But what I do find interesting is that it is kind of one of a kind. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen examples of what I call sprequels and remakequels. But don't let me have all the fun. If you find other examples, let me know. Have you ever thought to yourself, gosh, I wish I had my own cringeometer? Well, you can. Head over to patreon.com/nostalgiac and subscribe to the top tier, and you'll receive your very own one of these sexy puppies. Dreams do come true. You'll also get all the benefits of the other tiers, including a custom 1-minute review of your choosing. And if you join any of the tiers, you can enjoy a special video of me playing F*** Marry Kill with all the characters from the series. Apes only. Did I sign something? Oh, before I get the hell out of here to go decimate a bowl of Captain Crunch, I just want to say a big thank you to my top tier patrons, Cassian, Juanita, and Simon Kaser. Your support means the world to me. Cheers. Wait, hold on a second. McDonald and McDonald are two different people? For years, I've thought they just recast him, and then not until editing this video did I finally notice this.
When my brother was Governor Breck's assistant, he told me about them. My brother.
I did always think that the recasting was a little awkward, but now I'm kind of pissed. I mean, I'd kind of gotten invested in McDonald's overall arc that I thought spanned these two movies. Whatever.
Who knows?